Oh my gosh, it's part 3 and we're still in chapter 9 summary, 9-10 summary. We're doing both, okay? Of the picture of Dorian Gray. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Okay, if you don't know me, I'm Bistali. I read okay online for you. I do that for right now because I like books and you should too. And especially when they're books about a guy who's pretty and beautiful and popular, but he also has a portrait of himself that's haunted by a demon because he made a deal with the demon. Kind of like a monkey's paw situation. You're welcome. But like also with some here I am. So in order for Dorian to prevent Basil from taking the portrait and putting it on display in Paris, possibly at the World Fair. It's not like a normal fair, it's just where people display inventions and art and engineering. Basil, why didn't you originally want to put it on display? Like what made you change your mind? And that's where he was like, ooh, I got him. Because obviously he's trying to manipulate Basil out of putting this portrait on display, right? And I mean, he heard from Harry, because Harry's always like, do the bad thing. Come on. Just do it. Basil instantly becomes flustered, and then he was like, you know what? We don't have to put her out on display. Your wish is my command. Our friendship means so much to me. It means more to me than you. It's like, why not? Why can't I look at the painting I made? It's weird. And Dorian is just like, oh, okay. So now Dorian gets what he wants, which is the portrait not going out on display. But now he sticks by the thing. Now he's just curious. He was like, okay, so why didn't you want to put on? Like, now you gotta tell me. Now you have to understand. In 1889 England, it was illegal to be a homosexual. And I'm not quite sure, but I know it was illegal, but I don't know if it was punishable by death at that time. Basil makes this comment. He says, you had leant over the still pool of some Greek woodland and seen the water's silent silver, the marvel of your own face. So he kind of states that he's painted him as Narcissus from the Greek mythology. And I think I'll just put that painting here. Now, I'm not saying this is Basil Hallward's painting. It is a real painting. Very beautiful. In this case, though, for Dorian, he doesn't have this silver pool, right? Like in the mythology, Narcissus, he comes to know himself, he perishes. But Dorian does not. He comes to know himself with his cruel, twisted grin, but he does not perish. He does not. It's also interesting because the way that Basil seems to admire Dorian is similar to how, Dorian admired Sybil Vane when she was alive. It's like, I would say it was limerence, but let's be real. It occurs when there's not much there and you're just filling in all the blanks. But yeah, maybe a tad bit limerent. I always thought it was with people who were like less close, but perhaps one should never put one's worship into words. And I feel more like this is Oscar Wilde breaking the fourth wall and kind of letting us, the reader, know like there are some limitations you should have. Keep a little bit to yourself. Now, obviously, Basil just is like, you know what, forget it. I'm gonna go, like, I'm already embarrassed, like, this is such a private thing. It's also a thing that was very frowned upon in English society at that time. So naturally, he just wants to skedaddle and just be like, you know what? I can't do it. And this is when Dorian is like, you know what? After this, I have to hide the painting. I can't let anybody come near this painting. And so we move on to chapter 10, when the paranoia starts to sink in. And suddenly, Dorian thinks that everybody's trying to look at this freaking portrait of him. Because naturally, Dorian is so pretty. And Basil is an amazing artist. He's quite popular. Everybody likes his work. So people want to see it. And hey everybody, it's me, same night, different hoodie, making bone broth. So I want to give you guys the content that I promised you. I forgot to mention that Dorian knows that Basil would like understand if the painting was like possessed by a demon. You know, like he knows that he doesn't really have to hide anything from Basil, but he chooses to go on with his terrible secret. He chooses his path. He chooses the evil. So Dorian opts to get this portrait moved. He's starting to be suspicious of everyone, including his butler, including his own staff. He asks this maid for the key to his old schoolroom that he has not been in for a very long time. And they're like, oh my God, like, let me clean it for you. You're too rich for like a dusty room. You don't need to go to the other wing of your mansion and well, here's the key, but are you sure you don't want me to clean it for you before you even put a little toe into that room? Dorian's like, just give me the key, lady. I don't care if I'm rich and pretty. I need the key. I'll see you for part 4. Chapter 10 will be in part 4. I'll see you there. We're gonna go there. See me there. That's where I'm gonna go.